Hello YouTube, it is Championdjk coming at you again with another video, and I've got a heck of a good video here, I think, for you. We're going to look at a ton of cars, and what we've got here is a brand that is currently called Shadow or Shadow Pro. Now, I've shown Shadow on the channel before, a couple of different models, actually a couple different colors of this thing in particular, and another color of this one I think I've shown in the past. Okay, so I've shown those on the channel before. We have taken a look at them. Previously, Shadow was known as DCT, which is Diecast Team. It's had a couple different packaging types. We've had this one that's kind of ugly, if I'm honest, and this one, which is, I mean, nothing to write home about either. And then also Shadow. So Shadow Pro was GCD. So you might be more familiar with GCD. That was a brand that I was more familiar with before any of the other ones. And GCD, of course, Diecast Talk, if you're familiar with that, with him, was releasing exclusive GCD models, or models that were manufactured by GCD, namely Toyota Tacomas, Toyota products, because Toyota, they do have the licensing for it appears. So there is that. There are some models that are going to be not licensed, and those should be pretty easy to tell which is which. So anyway, anything Toyota I think is licensed. Anything that isn't, pretty much isn't licensed from what I'm gathering from this particular brand. So GCD, a bunch of different models are out there that you can get in this ugly kind of orange and black packaging. They stayed with the orange and black, primarily more black now. And I still don't really like this packaging. This window box is kind of, I don't know, it's kind of irritating. We're going to look at this one last, this Shadow Pro Nissan Patrol, which just says Patrol because it's not licensed by Nissan as far as I can tell. But we're going to take a look at all these first. So some really cool stuff here, actually. Some really neat models. And let's get right into it. Let's start with the Lexus LFA. Now, I've shown this casting on the channel before. I believe previous to this, I have it in silver and yellow. I ended up picking up these. Now, these were picked up, by the way, all of this was picked up from AliExpress. Don't know what's going to happen here with the de minimis tariff situation. Who knows? I saw a hilarious meme today with Donald Trump and looking like Mr. Miyagi or whatever, saying tariff on, tariff off, you know, like wax on, wax off. And I almost spit my coffee out because I thought that was hilarious. And yeah, so whoever posted that, thank you for the laugh. Anyway, we don't know what's going to happen. So I did kind of go ham a little bit and buy a bunch of stuff because I was like, okay, I don't know what's going to happen. Let's get a bunch of stuff from AliExpress, you know, prior to the problems, prior to the potential problems. So who knows if it's actually going to stick. We'll see. Anyway, Lexus LFA, this is a Toyota licensed product. Like I said, anything Toyota related, I think is going to be licensed. So these are packaged. These are all going to be packaged similar, except for this one's got texture on it, this packaging. And then they don't screw their castings to the base. And I actually like that a lot, that these are not screwed in. They're just sitting in a blister. They do have a little sticker, kind of like holding, or tape rather, holding the top of the acrylic on. We'll take that off, of course. And then on this base, Diecast Team. So these are the cheaper models. These are less expensive than GCD would have been, or Shadow Pro would be these right here. And they're not bad. They're pretty darn good, actually. So I am going to, I guess, just try to keep this packaging all straight, which is going to be a little tough. But all right, so Lexus LFA, here it is in white. So first of all, these castings typically are going to feature a, this is plastic actually, I think, on the base. I think some of them are metal, some of them are plastic. That one in particular is plastic. This one has suspension. It rolls. It's got inserted details for taillights and headlights, although they're not done with, like, you know, they do them, but they're not done with like super precision. It's not like a Tomica Limited Vintage model or anything like that, or a GCD or GCD Pro or Shadow Pro or whatever. We're gonna have a tough time keeping all that straight. But here's the white Lexus LFA. Let's get the blue one out right away. I should have peeled all the cellophane off of these. So these come wrapped in cellophane here. The interesting thing about these brands, and the reason why they're attractive to buy is because they do some cars that you're just not going to get from any other brand. Now, other brands do make a Lexus LFA, and I do have a video actually coming out. Hopefully I'll film that sometime soon regarding... I've been doing these... I started with the DeLorean. I've been doing Quest for the Best videos, which take a few brands that have made the same car and kind of complain about why can't anybody get this car right. Well, honestly, I think this brand does a pretty good job with the Lexus LFA. You know, Matchbox has done it. That's the one I'm waiting for. I need to get a Matchbox before I can shoot that video, which I don't have. So I need to get that, and I can actually shoot a video based on that. But anyway, that's nor here nor there. We're taking a look at this brand today. Anyway, Quest for the Best. Yeah, so this might be one of the best LFAs actually in Diecast. I know there's some other more expensive models like CMs and stuff like that, but we'll take a look at that in another video, but I just wanted to show you these. So these are older models. Again, plastic base. These are screwed together, but they do have like prototypical wheels, right? They've got, some of them have suspension, not all of them. This one does. This one is set up with some sort of suspension system. They got sort of like, actually they do totally, I think, have brakes, or at least something to represent the brakes. They rotate with the wheel. So it's not really a separate piece or anything like that. But pretty nice little models, right? So pretty cool little Lexus LFAs. I think they got the essence of the car done pretty well. So don't mind that. We're going to go with the other and last DCT branded model before we get into Shadow. And Shadow are going to be the newest ones, obviously. So this is a newer packaging than the Lexus LFA. This is the Lexus LM. So this is a van. This one, interestingly, does not show... It's got a number on it, too. This one, interestingly, does not show the licensing on it, which is weird. It does say Lexus on it. And typically, they're Toyota products, Toyota-related products are licensed, so, or at least appear to be licensed. At least they say they're licensed, we'll just say. But Toyota seems to be, I don't know, maybe they used to be difficult to get a license from, but it seems like any of these brands that come out of these Asian countries typically don't have a problem getting Toyota licensing, or at least don't have a problem saying they have the licensing for whatever reason. So again, we got to peel the little stickers, and we're going to take a look at the van. This is going to be a long video, by the way, so sit tight. Very long, actually, considering the fact we're already at 7 minutes, so it's dragging on. All right, so here is the van. And I wanted to get this one up, particularly this Lexus LM, because I just showed one of these from another Asian brand, Mazdi. Okay, so we're going to do a little compare-contrast real quick. Plastic base again, screwed together, suspension, and it looks pretty good. Not bad, right? Lightweight, looks like it's got some pretty good details on the interior, not bad. Rolls, all that good stuff. Now, we did just see one, I just showed one from Mazdi. This one definitely feels more premium. So as you can see, the inserted details in the headlights are more detailed than this particular model. And I think it's a slightly different trim, but that shouldn't really matter all that much. There's the back of it. LM500H, so maybe it is the same model. This one is metal on metal. Does not have suspension. A bit more detail under there. Well, actually about the same amount of detail. So pretty interesting they do the same. I mean, you can barely tell the difference. This one's much cheaper than this one. But just to show you how it compares to Mazdi, which is another one of my kind of favorite odd brand, Asian brand stuff that I think comes out with some cool stuff. But yeah, there's that minivan. You know, I dig a van like that. I'm a fan of the van. All right. Next thing we're going to take a look at, let's do the Veloster Turbo. So we got a Hyundai, and I've got it in two colors. We've got it in this like metallic orange and a yellow. Let's open up the yellow first. So the Veloster Turbo, and you notice how it does not say Hyundai on it. And you guessed it, that's probably because it is not have any licensing. So I'm going to pull this one out, we'll set it down, and then I'll get the other one out. Sorry. I should have done a little pre-opening of packaging on these just because this does take up a little bit of time, but I guess, you know, it is what it is. So here's the Veloster, but the neat thing about this, I don't think any other brand really has a Veloster Turbo. Oh, by the way, the base on the shadow stuff, again, just a little sticker there that tells you what it is. No print, no embossing or whatever, or no tooling on the bottom that says that it's a die-cast team like the last one. So here's the Veloster Turbo in yellow, and then we'll take a look at it in orange. Pull that one out. I do like this packaging. It's basic. You can see the car. It gives you a storage solution. You can take it in and out very easily because you don't need a screwdriver. So I am a fan of that. And the GCD or Shadow Pro is also like that. When we get to that packaging, you can remove the vehicle. But I prefer this packaging just because it doesn't have that weird window that the other ones do. Okay, so Veloster Turbo. No suspension. Rolls quite well. Again, plastic base. Doesn't bother me one bit. It gives it a little bit of a cheaper feel because it's lighter weight, but it really does not bother me. Take a look close up at the details. You know, mixed, right? It looks good. It looks decent. Up close, I mean, you can tell it's not, like, perfect, which, you know, I've yet to really see a perfect die-cast model. And if I would argue, like, the most perfect thing I think I've probably ever seen would be Tomica Limited Vintage. The quality control is something else with those, but of course you pay for that. So are those tailpipes supposed to be like offset like that? They look a little goofy. Yeah, probably not. Is that a separate piece? It is. So that is a separate piece there, which is kind of interesting. It's like tacked onto the bottom and goes through there. Kind of cool. So pretty neat. And these are, you know, typically are going to be $10, maybe $7, you know, depending on the model to get. And then, of course, the cheap shipping. Now, you know, that is, of course, if, you know, we continue to be able to purchase these, which who knows what's going to happen. Like I had, you know, with the tariffs, who knows. But that's going to date this video if someone looks at it in the future, probably. But, you know, who knows. Very cool, though, you know, and just an odd vehicle that normally I wouldn't think of getting. So I should mention, too, and this will be more apparent when we get to the BMWs, because I bought pretty much every color of them. They bring out like 4 to 6 or 7 colors of the model at once. So when they release the tooling, they release all the colors at once. And then you can go ahead and just decide what color model you want to buy, or if you want to buy multiples of the same car. This one is another example of this. So this is a 505 sedan, a Pujo, and it doesn't say Pujo because it doesn't have licensing. And I picked up 2 models, 2 different colors of this, and honestly was tempted to get all of them. I got all of that Dome Zero. I got all the colors available of that one, and I got all the colors available of the BMW 850 CSI. So, and I already showed, I think, 2 colors, maybe 1 or 2 colors of the CSI. I can't remember. I think 1, because I think there were 6 total colors. And I already showed 2 colors of the Dome Zero in a different video, so we're not going to have those today just for the sake of time. But let's open up the Pujo. Get that sticker off. Both sides. Oh, jeez. And they also did a Pujo wagon, and I have an example of that as well. But again, for the sake of this is already going to be a very long video, I did not pull every single model in the collection out from this brand. Maybe one day, in a day far from now, maybe we will take a look at each one. I'll set that right there for you to gander at it while I pull out the green one. The cool thing is, and you'll see this with the BMWs as well, they do a couple different wheel types sometimes for the different colors. So this one's got that wheel, and I purposely got 2 different colors that had 2 different wheels. Out of the, I think, 5 or 6 different colors that are available of this car. And again, kind of an interesting car, right? The 505 sedan. It's not something that, I don't know, that we've seen in a detailed 1/64 scale die-cast format before. And I should also mention that these are probably pretty close to exact 1/64, or somewhat close. You know, they're scale models. They're not made as like toys. They are scale models, so they are going to be at least somewhat scale accurate. Okay, so, which is nice, right? So again, same design philosophy as far as we've got. Ooh, this one's got suspension. These both do, of course. The casting does. Here's the details in the front. Inserted details for headlights. Of course, plastic base screwed together. We've already talked about that. Probably will for every model, though. Anywho, there's the Pujo. So it does say Pujo on the actual vehicle, just not on the packaging. Pretty cool. Defrost, rear defrost, and, you know, pretty nice. Pretty nice little model. And a weird little car, right? A wing on the back. That is part of the actual metal. So, or is it? No, it's not. That's a plastic piece. Wow, that's really hard to tell. I mean, they paint matched that perfect, but that is plastic. So this little lip right here is plastic, as is this one right here. So this one, they didn't do quite as good of a job. You can see that gap there. On the one side, anyway. This side looks good. This side. Could I fix that? Probably, but are we going to bother? Probably not. But yeah, very cool. So, which one do you like better? I think I like these wheels better, just because of the period, you know, that the car would have been made in. They do also, like, attention to detail, so they do have silver on the back of the mirrors. And again, looking in the car, and I know it's kind of tough to see in there, they actually have a rear view mirror hanging down, for one. See, the windows are not going to be clear, crystal clear, like they are going to be, you know, for Atomica Limited Vintage again. So just showing you do kind of get what you pay for a little bit, right? But you don't really have an option that I'm aware of to get this car from any other brand. You can see a little bit better in this one. So it is detailed. So they do offer quite a bit of detail. So for the price, these are pretty nice. Now, again, licensing, if that's like a thing that hangs you up with getting vehicles, you obviously shouldn't purchase these, because I don't believe they are licensed. At least definitely not like licensed for sale in the U.S. Okay, so next one we're going to take a look. We got a couple of Mercedes to look at. And once we look at those, and we can get into the BMWs and the Dome Zeros, we'll look at all the colors of those. We've got this E55 AMG W210. Again, no Mercedes mention on here, and you know what that means. That means, hey, basically telling you I'm not licensed. If they don't put the name of the manufacturer on the packaging, there is absolutely zero reason for them to do that unless they just didn't license it. So some cars, so licensing is a complicated issue. So sometimes, and I don't know exactly how this works, and I've asked questions about it to people that are kind of experts in this, and I still don't understand it sometimes, because licensing varies a lot. Like, there's a lot of things that need to get licensed, things that don't need to get licensed. So if a car is super old, the general shape of the car, unless it's like trademarked or whatever, I don't think really actually needs. By the way, just so you know, still, this one still says Diecast Team on the base, even though it was packaged as a shadow. So how's that? That's weird. And then I noticed it said DCT 043, so that must be like a tooling number for them. So this car maybe had come out a while ago, and it's getting, the casting's getting released in more colors. I have no idea, but that's just a theory. Anyway, licensing. So maybe the shape of the car, technically, they could make. But technically, like the logo and the name Mercedes or whatever could be like trademarks. So they can't put it on the package. However, they end up always putting it on the car. So that is a little bit weird. So you got a Mercedes logo on there. This one actually goes as far to have like a little laser etched hood ornament on the front. Now, it's on crooked. It's not, again, quality control on these is not going to be perfect. But they're not expensive, so you know, for the price you're paying for these, I think you get quite a good value. Phillips screws again on the bottom. This one does have suspension. It does roll, and it's a pretty nice looking model. I would consider getting this in another color, maybe silver, something like that. The other thing that's going to be interesting is to see how the paint holds up over time. You just never know with these models as well what that's going to be like, but very cool. Who knows? Maybe the paint has lead content. Who knows? If I end up with like, you know, lead poisoning, it's definitely going to be from Diecast. All right, let's go on to the SL500 R129. If I can get this plastic ripped open. I thought this casting had come out a while ago too, but maybe not. This is in shadow packaging as well. Peeling off all the cellophane here. I gotta get the stickers off, you know, all of that jazz. So, I mean, so far, I do like this. I do like these. I think they're cool. Obviously, I like them. I bought a ton of them. Here's the other Mercedes. So again, I don't know of anybody that really makes this car in any sort of semi-premium detailed model. So it's like your only option if you like this car. And for me, it's not that I necessarily really like this car. It's just that anytime I see like a detailed diecast model of a vehicle or, you know, a model, make model car. Ooh, I didn't expect that. This thing has got a removable top. Anytime I see a make model of a car or whatever that I don't currently have in like a premium diecast version of it in 164, you know, I'm tempted to get it. I don't always get it, but I'm tempted to get it. And with these guys being the price that they were, it's really no trouble at all. So inserted details again for taillights, headlights, plastic base, screwed together, rubber tires, detailed interior. Let's see if we can get a really good look at that. This is our only opportunity to really do it. We don't have to look at a window. You know, pretty darn good. And then, of course, it's got a removable top, which is cool. And it kind of just has two little pegs there that it sits in there. And very nice. You can barely even notice the little holes that it goes in because they're right in the black part there. So check that out. Rolls. This one, I don't know if it's really from just squishing it or if it's supposed. I don't think this one has suspension. You could take one of these apart and really look at what's going on in there, but I think I might have took one apart in the past, and it's like standard, like old school, almost like Matchbox style suspension, where it's got like a little like leaf spring across the bottom. I think is how they do it. Ooh, I'm gonna put my finger right on that twice. Now, trying to push down the hood, and I haven't broken it off, so that's pretty impressive, although it is still very crooked. All right, there's those two models. This one kind of just got loose suspension. So pretty cool there. And then let's take a look at the Dome Zeros. I'm going to try to do this as fast as possible here. And again, I apologize about all this package ripping open business. It's just, we got to do it. And then we're going to finish it off with the GCD, or not GCD, Shadow Pro model. So just stick around, or fast forward if you want to. These Dome Zeros are pretty darn cool, actually. So we're going to open these up. Actually, I'm going to do something I don't think I've ever done before. We're going to cut All right, there, spared you a little bit of pain. So here's the Dome Zeros. I got them in 3 colors here, and like I said, I've already got them in 2 other ones, a red one and a silver one. The silver one's kind of was the first one I got. Now these sort of roll. These don't roll quite as good as the other models, but these things got some pretty cool things going on with them, which is different from some of the other models. Now, these are newer castings. Well, I guess this is actually new, and that's actually new too, but these things are a little bit more special. For one, they're the Dome Zero, which is a really weird kind of concept car model that didn't really ever make it to production. You can read up on it, but kind of interesting. So these have opening doors, all of them. Let's open all of them. Why not? Interesting interior too, by the way. Take a look at that real quick. The shifter is on the right side right there. Just looks a little bit goofy. So opening doors. This one's got a scorpion on it. Very cool. And then the other little trick up its sleeve is it's got pop up and down headlights. Oh, look at the detail on the bottom too. Very nice. So there you go. The headlights pop up with that little lever down there, which is a very cool feature. And of course, they pop up on both of these. So if you're going to get one Shadow model, this might be my favorite casting that they've ever put out, just because it's such a cool kind of concept car. And before this, really the only option you had to get a really nice one of these would have been Atomic Limited, which is a tough one to get at a cheap price. And these only being like, I think these were a little bit more expensive than your standard Shadow model, Shadow casting, probably because of the opening features and separate parts. And by the way, they do the opening features pretty darn good, you know, for a model that's this inexpensive. So these are done really well. And like I said before, Tomica Limited, and it was an old model that you could get the Dome Zero. That was a pretty cool one too. I don't have it. I still kind of want it, even though I got these. But finding that one on the eBay for cheap is quite difficult. So good luck with that. You're better off just buying these if you can. So I would honestly run AliExpress and pick this stuff up now while you still can. So very, very cool Dome Zero. There's 3 colors there, and again, they have 2 more colors. One's in red, one's in silver. Very, very cool model. All right, we're going to cut again. Open up those BMWs. Okay, that was, I'm glad I didn't film that. All right, so what we've got here is the BMW 850 CSI, and they are not licensed, clearly not licensed. It's the only BMW casting, no, there's one other BMW casting actually that they do. And I have an example of it, but again, we're not showing it here. But here is the BMW. It does say BMW on there, it just doesn't say it on the packaging. So again, inserted details for taillights and headlights. Pretty good. The other version of this I bought was in black. Now these do have opening headlights in the front, but they don't work as good as there. That's what they look like. So they just pop up a little like that. The weird thing is they're like independent. So they have one little lever for each one, and you can see like that cutout there is not like extreme quality. But these models look pretty cool, and obviously they were selling them cheap on like sale or whatever, so I ended up buying all the colors I didn't already have. Now I got to try to get these back down. There we go. So as you can see here, you know, different wheel types versus that one, and of course a myriad of colors. It rolls. No suspension on this one. Stance pretty good though, it's low. Get the headlight down. There's no really point in these pop-up headlights, in my opinion, for this particular model. I'm just going to try to like lock them shut because they don't really pop up that much, and it's not really much to look at. So don't really care about that. Love it in red. I think it looks fantastic in red. Very, very cool. Looks pretty good in silver. Again, I think the first model I bought was black, so I do have that one as well. Silver. And then this brown is really cool. It's like a root beer brown with kind of matching wheels. Looks pretty awesome. Quite good. Again, plastic base on these things. Rubber tires. This one rolls really well. This one's got Alpina in the back. This one's probably my favorite. That crazy looking tan all over interior. Almost orange. And then this one in blue. Looking pretty awesome as well. Got that kind of weird like graphic on the side, which is the same as the green one in a metal flake green. Looks pretty cool. So I like this passing, obviously. I like it. I bought every single model of it. So there were 6 colors, and I own all 6. I believe there were 6. There might have been 7. I think I don't have another one. Yeah, I think there's only 6. So, and I've got every single color of it. The black one has the same wheels as this one. So just so you know. Again, I don't have it out to show you, so I apologize about that. But very cool. So these BMWs are neat. And again, as far as getting a premium 1/64 scale model of this particular car, as of right now, I don't think you can really get one. Maybe Kyosho made one. I'm not really sure. I don't have it. And maybe Mini GT will do it. I don't know. But maybe not. So if you want these, again, these were cheap. I think these were like $6 a piece or something like that. They were cheap. So definitely worth the price of admission on these little ones. If you do not care about licensing, right? And I always talk about it every single video, and I know it may sound like a broken record, but for some people it is important, and I respect that. I just, for me, I'm a degenerate when it comes to diecast collecting, so I pretty much collect anything. I don't really care if it's licensed. I prefer it to be, if possible, but that's not, obviously it's not going to stop me if it's not. If I made that distinction, I may not have as much cool stuff to show you guys because I'll be showing you, what a lot of other people are often showing. So, all right, Shadow Pro. Here we go. This is the grand finale, and do we like this model that much better than these other ones? Now, these are about double the price, if not slightly more than double the price of the other models. Now, what do you get with Shadow Pro? You are going to get more details. These are going to have metal bases. They're going to be heavier. You get a microfiber cloth with these things to clean your model, which is very interesting. You do get an acrylic case. It's in this dumb box. I don't like this box. I get what they're trying to do. You can see the front and the side of the car. I mean, it's kind of a neat idea, but I think you can't really see much of it, so I don't really like it. So our acrylic case is obviously much bigger. Now, typically with Shadow Pro, most of these have been vans or trucks. Look at that's much bigger. Most have been vans or trucks, right? So I have a little Volkswagen Golf too, so they did put that out as well. Here's this, and then they have a little blister. Again, they're not screwed to the base, but check. I mean, this does look pretty awesome. Bridgestone Desert Rollers, or Desert Duelers, sorry. They got a graphic of a spring in there. That's kind of goofy. So this one doesn't like have suspension, but it is made to be posed in a way. So these actually rock back and forth. Now there are some GCD Shadow Pro models that actually have steering front tires, which is interesting. This one's got you know, you can pose it. You know, if you had it on a big rock or something here, you could do that. So that is kind of a neat feature, I guess. I do like that. I actually like it better than the steering, I will say. And, of course, all metal. And then your details for your inserted headlights and taillights are going to be done with a little bit more care than the cheaper models. So these ones are filled with detail. These are very, very nice. All the vehicles that I have from this brand, whether it's Shadow Pro, and this is the only real Shadow Pro model I've got, or GCD, have been pretty darn nice. Now, they haven't been like super, super great, super awesome. Like, they're not, to me, they're still not Tomica Limited vintage quality. Maybe their Toyota stuff is, the Toyota Tacomas, which actually, do I even have one? Yeah, I have a black Toyota Tacoma. Most of the stuff I've been buying from when they've come out as Diecast Talk exclusives, not actually GCD models, but this one I'm going to say, yeah, I'm happy with this particular purchase. This is available, of course, in a few other colors as well. And I got the most, like, period screaming that it's from, you know, the era of the vehicle coming out color, which is this with the green and gold and the trim and all of that jazz. I just thought that was so cool. So I ended up picking it up. I wish it had articulating and bouncing suspension. It does not. Some of their models have bouncing suspension. And again, some of their models have steering as well. Pretty darn cool. All right, that's going to be it for this episode. Long one today, a very long one. I don't apologize about that. Hopefully you enjoyed it. It would have been a lot longer had I not skipped some packaging. What's your favorite model today? This actually is really nice. I actually really like this a lot more than I thought I would. I was going to say, you know, this really isn't worth the price, but it might be. I think it's really nice. I think it's quite nice. Not licensed, though. It doesn't say Nissan anywhere, except for on the front here, and that's it. But there's no licensing on the packaging, just, you know. So, again, if that matters to you, stay away from it. The other thing it does is it doesn't allow this to get into Lamley Awards, since it's not licensed. So it will not be featured, even though it's a very nice new model. Too bad. All right. My favorite. I don't know. I'm kind of leaning like this guy a lot. I like that guy a lot, just because it's odd. The BMWs are cool, but I've already featured them. The Dome Zeros are cool, but I've already featured them. It might have to be these guys. You guys let me know what you think in the comments down below. We got to end this one. Thank you very much for watching another lengthy video. Thank you so much, and have yourself an awesome day, and we'll see you in the next one.